The second question that I had gotten was about exercising while reducing caloric intake for weight loss. And it was someone that was confused about what she had seen, especially kind of on social media, about people saying that you shouldn't be exercising while you're in a calorie deficit because it's harmful to hormones. And My understanding of kind of the science and research is that, um, well, number one, if you're doing a calorie deficit, you want to be doing strength training at a bare minimum because otherwise you'll be losing more muscle than you are fat. And that's a major risk factor for um, other metabolic issues down the line. So you really want to have like a good amount of muscle mass over like fat reduction. If you are doing a calorie deficit at any point, you want to be doing like a lot of strength training and resistance training to maintain muscle so that you don't lose that muscle mass. And I kind of had a little bit of a side note that I wanted to add about calorie reduction because I actually, in my like personal practice, I don't often recommend calorie reduction. In fact, I haven't so far for any individual because what I'm finding is that a lot of people, when they focus on calories and reducing the amount of calories, is that they become really micronutrient deficient and aren't taking in the appropriate amounts of micronutrients in their diet that they need for their hormones and neurotransmitters and all of that. And um, so, and your body, if it's not sensing appropriate amounts of nutrition in its environment, which is through your gut and in your diet, then it's going to hold on to more weight. So, like a calorie deficit can often lead to muscle loss more than fat loss because your body will try to hold on to its stores thinking that it's not in a safe environment. And that's again associated more long term with frailty and not aging well. So I personally don't do a lot of recommending of calorie deficit, even when weight loss is really important. And instead, what I try to focus on is making sure that you're getting the right like micronutrient and macronutrient profile and exercising in a way that builds muscle because muscle will help you naturally kind of lose fat more because what you want is to kind of rev up your metabolism and not lower it. And one of the other ways you can rev up your metabolism very naturally is just by simply eating whole, real foods. I saw an interesting study where they had compared people who ate the same numbers of calories, quote unquote, same macronutrients, but one was a very processed meal that was like very processed white bread. It was a cheese sandwich, essentially, was what they were comparing. And in one group, they did like American cheese and like the Wonder Bread version, same technical calories, same technical macronutrient profile. And in the other group, they did real food. So, like whole grain, unprocessed, like very natural white bread, and then like a good quality cheese that was a natural, like aged cheese, not a human made processed product. And what they found was that even though those individuals ate the same exact quote unquote calories and macronutrients, that the individuals who ate the real food had a higher metabolism and metabolic rate afterwards. And the people who ate the processed food, their metabolism decreased. So they ate the same amount of food, but they were burning less calories afterward because their body had sensed, I'm eating food, but it's nutrient depleted, is my suspicion there. So just eating higher nutrient foods will help rev up your metabolism and help you naturally lose weight without having to really focus on counting calories or being in a calorie deficit. Because in general, too, I find that focusing on calories and on being in a calorie deficit seems to really bring about this tension with the food that we eat. So we get into like a kind of a spiritual warfare over our like food, and fighting of like with our food, like this food is bad for me. You get a lot of like black and white thinking around food that versus like food is to nourish you. This is a way of being kind of embodied in your environment, right? Like the environment turns into your body essentially and connects you. And so to keep food as like I think healthful and as possible and to reduce the amount of strain that we put on our relationship with food, I just find that there's very, very few circumstances that anybody needs to be counting calories or focusing on a calorie deficit. So it's a little bit of my soapbox, I guess, on calories. So I hope that's okay that I shared that.